Good morning, everybody. Is everybody feeling good? So I believe you have prepared something for Mr. Lemke to be involved in before he starts his presentation to you all. Your energizer.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Some people, yeah? Okay, so the floor is yours. Ours, yours.
Okay, so everybody stand up, put your chairs underneath, make sure you've got a little bit of room. Mr. Lemke loves this one, he's done it before. Oh, so it's very, very simple. On the top row, in blue, can we just cover the screen up for a moment?
Oh, if I lose this.
You are responsible.
There.
On the row in blue are some letters of the alphabet. We're going to start with A, and we're simply going to say the alphabet together. Got it? Yes. Off we go.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y,
Not bad. We weren't quite together. But you will see underneath each letter there is either an L, an R, or a B. So if you say the letter A now, you must raise your left hand. And when you say the letter B, you must raise your right hand. And you see the letter D, that means both hands. So as you say the letters now, we put a bit of range in it. Are you ready?
Yeah.
And A, B, C, D, E, F, G,
H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z.
Okay. Final challenge, because that was pretty easy, wasn't it? Yeah? Let's say our alphabet backwards and do the action. Okay. Are we ready? Yes. Go.
C, Y, S, W, V, U, T, S, R, Q, P, O, N, M, L, K, J, I, H, G, F, E, D, C, B, A.
So a contradictor on the front who was going like this. I think most of you did very well. Another energizer, another bit of brain gym. Why do we do it? Get your mind going, because we're going to have top-notch speech. Okay, take a seat. Thank you.
I also had the pleasure of watching Maria look and do this. So, like I said on the first day, I'm not going to present the office on Sport for Development MPs because there's somebody much more qualified to do so. My boss, he's the Undersecretary General and Special Advisor on Sport for Development Peace, Mr. Lemke. He has arrived last night from Germany, and he's going to take you through a presentation on the office that I work for and the office that he supports and is basically in his title for. So, Mr. Lemke.
Yeah, thanks, Ben.
In the middle of the, you can be, you have the mic on.
Yep. So
You're okay
I don't.
to wander.
So I can wander. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good.
You were sharp on time. I love this because I'm from Germany, and they are a bit crazy about time. So, first of all, I've never seen that before in nearly 5 years, that our participants were so sharp on time. And I've never had the challenge I've been given right now. I watched to all my neighbors and then I tried to follow them. It's good to be here, and I love to be here. Why? Because I got a wonderful volunteer job in 2008 from Ban Ki-moon himself. I was nominated by our German government for this job. I had some other people who also have been nominated at that time. And finally, as you see, I won this battle, this competition. And I'm very happy to serve for more than 7 years for the Secretary General Ban Ki-moon. When I met him the first time in 2008, he told me, Mr. Lemke, the most important thing is for your work, teach people how to use sport as a tool for development and peace. And start in Africa. Africa is the most suffering continent, so that must be a priority of your work. And so it is it's not surprising you that I start my mission in Africa in 2008. And when I've been first time in Africa, I went to Kenya and to South Africa. I met wonderful young men and women working in NGOs and sport projects, very often not being paid. One girl in Zambia told me when I asked her, what do you get for working for this NGO? She was fighting for the gender equality. And she told me, yeah, I got a small bottle of water and 2 bus tickets because my home is 10 kilometers far away from the training pitch, and so they always give me 2 bus tickets. But, Mr. Lemke, as it's only 10 kilometers, I walk to this training session and don't use the tickets. But I give these tickets to my mom, and she changed it into food for our family. And I was very much impressed by this example. And then I tried to find out who is supporting the youth of the world coming from disadvantaged area and working on a voluntary base for the youth of this surroundings, this neighborhood, these societies. And I started with the German government, and they said, oh yes, Mr. Lemke, we have a lot of scholarship programs, very good. Yeah, what is the background of this, or what have I to think about? Yeah, they must be having a master degree and very good results of their studies. Maybe a PhD study right now, and then we can invite them for a scholarship to Germany. I said, listen, I don't know if they have finished their school. I have no idea, but these are wonderful boys and girls, young men, young women from all parts of the world that I've seen until the day. And then he said, no, Mr. Lemke, unfortunately, we don't have any program. And then I discussed this with my colleagues in the office in Geneva and New York, and then finally we decided in 2011 to found or to start an own UN system, program. And it was, in the first month, it was not easy to find somebody to pay for it, because this, you must know, I'm also working as a volunteer because we don't have an own budget. What we have called as an own budget is a budget from the German government, because I was nominated by the Chancellor of Germany. They said, okay, we have to finance the office of Mr. Lemke. And so we got nearly half of the budget that we need from Germany, and from all the other partners we had to ask for money. And so many countries, many organizations like IOC and others, they give us here or there some amount of money. But for this special project, we don't have $1, nothing. And so we must be creative and flexible. And this is also something what I would love you to learn from our camp, our program, to set your own goals and say, yes, I want to do it. Because when I started this, I had no money, but only the idea to change your lives. And you are very privileged to be invited to this very special camp. You are now something like 30 or 34 of 700s, something like that. And to be here, that means you get into a big network. That is a chance. It is not a must that you use this chance, but you got this chance in front of you. And that is very, very special. And this is something what I would call legacy or sustainability. We are always in the United Nations talking about sustainability. Well, whatever we do, what is going on with that? Is it just for fun? Forget it? Or is it sustainable? Will you change something? And you can, day by day, you can change the world. But you must believe in your power and your strengths and find others to get together, to stay together, and then, okay, we will do it. We will try it to do the world better as it is. And the world is not good. Day by day, we read bad things and hear bad things, also from our family of sports. This morning, catastrophe in Orlando. Yesterday, so-called football fans fighting in France at the European Championship. Doping scandal here and there, corruption here and there. This is out of the political things. I get a headache only to think about how many military conflicts are around right now. How many countries do we have here, Ben? 13. Right? 13. Yeah, 13. And do you have had already a conflict of violence, or could you live together in peace and harmony and fruitful and staying together? That is the way that the world should stay together, and not thinking about power and money and all these greedy things. And we have to change it. I know it's only a very, very small chance, but you must use this chance. Now that was the introduction. We are very flexible because you might know that Frances, she is the boss here, and I'm very grateful that she always organized this here. We have some of Frances around the world. I'm very happy about it because it is really the fact that she changes with me, with our offices, with Ben and all the others. We change it. We don't have Frances here. You would not sit in here. You must always think about that, how she changes the world for me and for you. Now we are very flexible. I said this because Frances told me that we can change here the program a little bit, and so I will now start maybe a 30-minute speech, or you can call it a lecture. I don't know. Doesn't matter. To talk to you a little bit more about the mandate that I have and the priorities. Here you see me together with my boss, Ban Ki-moon from South Korea. My mandate is to be a facilitator, an advocate, and a representative. Representative is really a good thing. I got an invitation to the Olympic Games and to the Paralympic Games, so I'm also very much privileged to go there and don't have to buy tickets. I'm welcomed, and this is really good story. I have to be an advocate. That means I have to try to convince very important people in society and politics to do more for sports. In many countries, you will not believe, but it is true, people who are responsible say, no, sport is luxury. We have other priorities. Sport is, it's fun, and it's not necessary for the population and the people around. And this is totally wrong. And you will all know that it's totally wrong, otherwise you would not be here with us today. We have so many aspects why it's important to teach our children from the first weeks on to love sports, not to be pushed to do this kind of sport or that kind of sport, to be a gold medalist. This is not what I'm looking for. I want you to deliver the message all around the world that it's wonderful to give the children, our children, the opportunity to have fun and to enjoy every minute, every hour to play sports. For me, when I go around the world, I always have the problem that I have not enough possibilities to have sports. Sometimes it's time lack. Right now I'm confused with the time because now it is normally the time when I have a little nap at home. And so today it was not possible for me to have sport, but I need sport. This year I will be, how old will I be this year? You're not prepared.
23.
27. You are a liar. No, I will be 70 this year, and I'm still training on the half marathon in Bremen, my city. And believe me, I will do it with some good friends around me, and I feel happy when I go out for a run. I need always somebody with me. So who want to have a run tomorrow with me? Okay, come on. But if somebody else would love to, then we should go out for 10K or something like that. Ben will organize it, and just by telling this nice story, I ask all of you to communicate with me, as I have just done it with you, and I will get from Ben all your informations, and wonderful devices like iPhones make it very easy that I get all your contacts in my iPhone, and I will take from all of you one picture that I not only know your details but also the photo. And when we started this morning, I said it's so wonderful for me to meet some of you in the future, and I've met several of you in the future because the network is growing day by day and week by week. One day we will meet each other in Olympia, the best place for people who love sports in the world, in the ancient Greece, where they started the Olympic idea, and they make it unbelievable. How can I say, vocational training program. And I got the wonderful opportunity to invite 20 of you, not of you here, but of all of you. And so it could happen that one day 3, 4, 5 or 6 will be invited to Greece by the IOC. I have this deal made together with them, and that is so great. Then when we meet each other, we'll meet each other in the future, and I see your way into the international sports. And I always, normally I say in the last minutes, one day you will be in a leading position of your country and sport federation, or even one day one of you can be the sports minister of his country. And believe me, I'm not a stupid guy. I know my history exactly. I started as a schoolboy. I have been elected as a, how can I say, a leader or a chairman of the students' organization to organize sports when I was 15, 16-year-old. And then I went to university in Hamburg. Of course, I was chairman of the students' organization. Then I became a sports teacher, and then I went to university to work in university in Hamburg and Bremen, northern part of Germany. After that, I went, and that was a great change in politics, for 7 years as a secretary of a Social Democratic Party in Germany. And then I make a big jump into professional sports. I became, for nearly 18 years, the general manager of Werder Bremen Bundesliga Football Club. And in that time, we won twice the German championship, 3 times cup winner in Germany, and once European Cup winner. So that was, for me, a wonderful time. And that makes it happen that I now can survive without earning money, because I had this wonderful job before. But because you definitely know in professional football, they are crazy with money. You can earn a lot of money, and year by year it grows. But it's not only good that it grows and grows and grows, because other sports are not happy about it. Because if, for example, that we have done last week, we got a lot of, the Bundesliga got a lot of more money from TV rights. But this means that other sports, table tennis, badminton, judo, and there's no money, or not as much money as before, there for them. And so this might be a big competition in the future. Coming back to tell people, you must more invest in sports for children, for youth, that they love the same way that I love to have sport with you tomorrow, because I will feel good after I have the sport session with you. We must teach our children. It's so good to teach them that it's necessary to train, because if they learn by sport that they will love, that they have to learn to be successful, they will also do it in school and in university and in life. Yeah, to set a goal is very important, and not to say, okay, I don't care, blah blah blah. No, this is not the way. Okay, what can I do? What can I do with my team? Team is always, for me personally, better than to fight as a single fighter. You will never be so happy than to be in a team. If you win a competition, you are a basketball player, and so you are a team player. And for sure, it's better to celebrate your championship when you are a team, because all around you will be happy. If you, as a single, as a high jumper or long jumper or 100-meter sprinter, I've run the 100-meter before. Yeah, I was happy, but I was the only one. One, I had a relay, and we became German school champion in front of 70,000 spectators in my home city, Hamburg. That was unbelievable. Yeah, 70,000 people around me, and I was 17, 18-year-old, and we started in a relay. Our school had qualified for Hamburg, and then we became German champion in front of 70,000 Hamburg students crying and cheering. I never forget, and that changed my life, and so we hope to change your life here in this program, and definitely believe in this chance, and then to be, I want you to be a facilitator, an advocate, and one day a representative. And when I started in your age, I never ever would believe that I one day would stay here in Florida to talk to you and to motivate you to go the same way as I did. So this is very important, to be an advocate and to convince others to do more for sports and to use sport as a tool for development and peace. Facilitator, normally I thought, okay, there are many conflicts in international sport, so I should be the facilitator. But this is also true, but it's not the way that I work hard in this area, because there are so many organizations, they take care of their own things, and it's not necessary. I think 3 or 4 times in nearly more than 7 years now, I was asked to facilitate in a conflict. But what is much better for me, more often I get the chance to change things by facilitating, bringing people together. Like I will do definitely with some of you in the future. Just an example, I said it, or I told this story to Ben this morning at breakfast. 9 months ago, I went to Harare, Zimbabwe, and I met some of your colleagues, basketball player from Harare, and he said, oh, Mr. Lemke, we would be so happy if one day we could invite you to our project in Harare. And I said, okay, it's not so easy, because we have 193 UN member states, and we have now 700 youth participants of the Youth Leadership Program in 79 countries, maybe some more due to the fact of this camp here, from all continents. So I cannot go to all your projects, it's impossible. But I went to Harare, basketball project. Very good. What was different? They were singing, yeah? They were dancing on the basketball pitch and playing basketball. 3 different things when they present what they are doing. Then the leader, one of you, asked me, Mr. Lemke, the children or the students would love to that you deliver a little speech to them. And I said, yes, of course, why not? And all the 90 people sit down, and I spoke to them about the values of sport. The same thing what I'm doing right now to you. And after 5 minutes, one girl said, Mr. Willy, may I ask you a question? I said, of course, why not? They said, what you have said is completely correct, and I love what you have said, but we want to go to school. Holy shit. What shall I answer? A 14-year-old girl, she could be my grandchild, asked me that she wants to go to school, and how can you help me, Mr. Willy? I said, listen, I'm not your president. Your president, your education, minister of education, he must answer this question. I'm a secretary general's and special advisor. What can I say? And I say, listen, you are so bold and so tough to ask me this question in front of 90 colleagues and friends. How many people do you have, or colleagues do you have in your team? And she said 12 girls in this team. And I said, okay, I will try to promise, now I promise you to try to find sponsors for you that you can finish your school then to go afterwards to university. So not only 1 year, and call scholarship for 1 year, but for 5 or 6 years. And then, this is also something what is very important for you to learn. I didn't say, I deliver the money for you. I said, I will do my very best, and I promise you, I will do my very best to get some friends to sponsor your scholarships. And whenever you say to somebody that you promise to do something, you have to do it. Sometimes I'm been asked, really, how does it come that you have such a, don't call me arrogant, but such a career? Yeah, because from that point, now to the SG's Secretary General's special advisor, that is a good story. But I thought one thing is that you always, when you're in communication with somebody and you promise something, you must do it. If you forget it, or if you just say, okay, I will do so, but you never want to do so, then the people will say, okay, he is not reliable. Is it reliable? And that is very important whenever you are in contact with some people, friends, whoever, your parents, your teachers, your professors. If you promise something, you must do it. Very important. And another very important point is, I dropped from Harare, but I will come back to Harare. When I was working as a minister, we call it in Germany, Senator of Education and Science, very often I had good ideas and I said, listen, I want to change this and I want to change this because it's good for the students or for the parents, for the teachers, however. And you will learn, or you will know in the future, when you are in the same level, that people say, oh, Mr. Lemke, that's impossible because there is a paragraph here, there's a paragraph there. This is absolutely impossible to do so. Never ever believe that something is impossible. Just change the question then and say, listen, I don't want you to tell me that my idea is not possible. I want you to make it happen. What is my idea? In this situation, as a senator of education, I could say so. Of course, it was tough, and they said, why can he say? We always say it's impossible, and when we say it's impossible in administration, it's a very small chance to change their mind. But they have to learn. If something is good, and people say, yes, it's good, it would be good if we have more girls in education and good jobs and not paying them less as men. you have to do it, and not to say, oh, this has been all the time that girls had so long. No, this is wrong. I see many girls here. How many girls do we have in the 23? World record. World record. I've never heard this. Yeah, because girls, huh? Now I will tell you what is important in this. After you have learned that never believe that when somebody tells you that's impossible, make it happen. But here, how did we make it happen that we have now 23 girls and 11 boys? That must be the relationship. When I started this several years ago, I was invited to many other similar vocational training programs, and I always see they have maybe 10% female participants. I said, listen, this is a UN, because you are now in a UN, not facility, but in a group or an organization, program organized by the UN. And we have gender equality as one of the most important things, our goals in society all over the world. How can you have here just 10% female participants? Oh, Mr. Lemke, it is so complicated to get the allowances of the parents. And girls are not so interested in sports, Mr. Lemke. Yeah, they are not so much interested. And the fathers and the brothers will not allow them to go. And as I also already said, it's impossible to get more than 10-20% female participant. Learn the story, what we have done in our offices to make it happen, that now, in the 5th year of our organization, we have more than maybe 56-57% female participants in this program, because we changed. We changed. We said, okay, everybody is welcome. If I hope that there are not so many there are not so many adults, young adults here that have very rich parents behind, or very, very influential people around them, because this is specially made for grassroots level sports. And for me, it's very important that we give people vocational chances who normally would not have the chance to be here in such a wonderful program. This is the background, and then we said, listen, we will ask projects, NGOs, and people who work in the field of grassroots level sports, and we want them to appoint people, or to apply? Yeah, to select people in what they believe. And when I talked about that you are privileged, that means you already have this step behind you, and another step you have behind you, because we as Ben and his team in Geneva, we got these applications done by, or nominated by your organization, and then they check who could be invited. But the most important thing is, that is, you have also to remember in the future, when you have your own project, we say you are not allowed to send only one. You always have to nominate two, one man, one woman, and that makes the difference. This small thing makes a difference, because every NGO loves to nominate people for this project. They think it's wonderful. Normally, they would always have a majority of men. They say, yeah, they are stronger, they are better, the connections are better, men are more like this working, bringing them in front. And we changed it by only this rule to say, you're not allowed to send one or three, it must be always equal, gender equality. And then Ben's work starts comparing your qualification. And this has been done with all of you, done by my team in Geneva. And then we have our criteria. How long you have worked, in which area did you work. We had a telephone interview with you. Did you have all with them?
Not all.
Together with Francis, or?
Yeah, the two between me and France.
Yeah, okay. So there was a qualification, and the result is what you can see here. And really, believe me, this is a very successful story, because if the United Nations says we want to have gender equality, I always say, yeah, I could give you a good example of a UN project where we have even better, and men have to think about to fight for gender equality in the future. Yeah, that we don't have too many female participants in the future. Coming back to facilitate then is not only in conflict areas, coming back to Harare, because now I started with these 12 girls to find sponsors. And I just told Ben, last week I got the pledge, yeah, can I say the pledge of some of new people that I met somewhere in Germany, and I told them the story as I have told this story to you, and they said, okay, what do you think, what can we do? I think you, the man who asked me this question was a journalist. I said, for you it's very easy. Tell my story about Harare to your readers, yeah, the people who read the newspaper. Tell them the story, and then make it happen that they say, and this are really existing girls. This is not a big show where they say, okay, collect money. I was very much surprised that you are only, in some countries, you only have to spend 25% of the money that is given to you for this project that you had asked for money. This is crazy. It's unbelievable, because normally I would expect 100% goes to the project. But as I said, in some countries, I don't mention any names for this country. I don't want to insult any countries, but maybe we can later on discuss it. We give all this money 100% to the girls, and not to the girls or the parents. We deliver this money only to the school, to say, you are responsible, that this girl has a right to go there. She will get a uniform and everything what she needs. And otherwise it's very, very difficult for the girls, if somebody is a problem in the family, that they say, okay, I have this money on my account, and I cannot reject if my father or my mother or my grandmother said, you have to pay for this bill or this bill. So we bring them out of the game and sending this money directly to the school. And this is a form of facilitation that I really love. I sleep very well when I go home after delivering a speech and having this journalist now convinced that it's very easy to write an article. It's easy to write an article and say, come on, let's do a crowdfunding. And please, 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 all of you, think about crowdfunding. There are now in the US and in many different other parts of the world, organizations like Better Place. This is something what I have in mind in Berlin and Bremen and Germany. Better Place, you need only one page of your story, what you're looking for what you're looking for, and then they count day by day. Whenever there's somebody who spends €5 or $5, it changes, and you can see how it grows. One girl, also one colleague of yours, is from Gaza, and she was in love with her boyfriend, but they have no money because both are jobless. They have an academic background, but in Gaza it is very, very hard to survive. And so they started, and I was very amused. Amused is maybe not the right wording, but when I saw her face with her boyfriend, and they said, we would love to marry, but it's impossible due to the circumstances in our country here. And she said, we need $9,000 to have a real good wedding on a Palestine way. And weddings are completely different from Russia to Germany to South Sudan and to Palestine. And then they started, and they are married now by the idea, and many US guys also followed or spent money. I followed that, and I was so happy that finally she, and as I said, she's one of your colleagues. She is now very happy because she learned how to crowdfund her own marriage. But when I told you, or when I tell you this, I think, of course, of your project, what you can change, what you can do. Use this crowdfunding. The story must be good, the pictures must be good. And ask Ben how to get a recommendation letter for your project. I know that they don't like it because it makes a lot of work, because they have to check if it's a good project, how long you have been working in this. And so that is very, very complicated, hard work, but that makes it very much easier for you to be very successful. This is the best thing what we can do. Here, priorities, I already spoke about Africa, conflict resolution, youth development and role models. This is you. Gender equality, persons with disability. Can I wake you up for a second? Yes. Thank you. To give you an overview about the UNOSDP, that is our office, the entry point to the UN system with regard, and only with regard to sport for development and peace. I know there are many other very important things at the UN, but if you are only focused on sport, then we are your partner. And here you can see we can bring you up and can get you in contact with UN agencies, programs, national, international sports organizations, NGOs, research and academia, private sector like Francis, and the media as well. Ben, please be so kind. So sport is a fundamental right for all, regardless of ethnic origin, gender, age, impairment, cultural and social background. This picture is on one hand a very sad picture. On the other hand, it's a nice picture because it shows in a very poor area. And one of the biggest dump sites of the world in Kenya, Nairobi, just on the dump site, and you can see the wall. This is the wall where you can enter to the slum. And here on the dump site, there are right now living something like 1,000 people on, not somewhere around, but on the mud and the stinky, how do you say? Yeah, so there they are living, sleeping. And there is one girl, she's called Mara, like Maradona. She was a good football player, and she played in the Kenyan national team for homeless people. I don't know if you have heard of this competition. They will have the next World Cup in your home country. I think it's in Scotland. Unfortunately, I cannot go there. Yeah, you must know Ben is very happy that that Russia yesterday did a draw against his beloved country, England. Can I say so? Yeah, he smiled. He smiled. So, and why did I show you? This is sport for very poor people, and this is organized by Mara. One girl is organizing this. You can see the goals, how she organized the goals. This is done by one young, now she's a lady. She started this 10 years before, but still you can see a lot of children around. There were something like 80 to 100 children. Sunday morning, something like 11 o'clock, on the dump site area, and here you can see the little fan, and there is a goalkeeper and pigs running around the pitch. And this is really some story that opens my heart and say, listen, Mara was born on the dump site, grew up on the dump site, and now she is in a way that she has a room in the slum. This room is something, I would say, like this. This is her hut. And they are living with 3 adopted girls and 1 own girl. She's living in such a place. And if you ask me how does it go? Yeah, there's 1 bed at the top of the roof, 1 bed. There's Mara sleeping. Then another under her bed. There are 2, and then 3 sleeping, something like that. On the bed down on the ground, this is also something like a couch where they sit. And then there is 1 meter. There's an old TV, something like 30 years old. So that is how they live. Unbelievable. But it's a fundamental right for all of them. You have a question?
I was just going to comment how they have a bed net, and I think that's what it is, what I'm seeing, a bed net, the blue net, and which is usually used for mosquitoes and to fight off, malaria and kind of things. But since they have the passion, they're actually using it as a net, and that's using that resource, for something that you love, and I think that's really amazing. So I just wanted to comment on it.
Yeah, they try to use everything what they can get, and obviously this is thrown away by some rich people somewhere in the suburb around, and they survive on the dump site collecting some things that they can sell in the slum. And definitely you are correct. I hadn't had the idea before what it is, but you are absolutely right. And they found it somewhere and they use it in a way to have something like a goal with a net. And if somebody has experience in football, then you know a goal is good, but a goal with a net is much better. Please, Ben, be so kind. Here are your colleagues. I think it has been in Korea. And when we talk about teamwork, I already had mentioned, one back please, teamwork, communication, leadership, fair play, respect, good health, resilience, and discipline. And when I see this picture, one very important is that we always try to include person with a disability, and it doesn't matter if it's intellectual disability or physical disability. We are all equal, and you all please go out of this camp at the end of the week knowing and learning that we want to live in an inclusive world where all have the feeling that they are on the same equality, that we don't say, okay, we don't want to play with a child with an intellectual disability, or if somebody is blind, we cannot accept her or him. You must say, people with a disability belong in the center of a society and not being excluded in our neighborhoods, in our families, and so we have to stay together. This is a very bad thing. Still, my personal opinion is that we have maybe half of the countries don't behave like that. And even in societies that think that they are very good developed, sit in a wheelchair and go around and try to survive in a wheelchair. You will see here in the US, here in my home country, in Germany, it's a big, big challenge for a person with a disability to move around, to be accepted. And the change starts in the head. It's not so important. It's also important to change the borders for the wheelchair, for example. But more important, that we learn that people with a disability belong into the center. I heard some years ago there was a big scandal in Germany a group of disabled persons have been on a holiday somewhere in Spain or so. And some of the tourists protest about the fact that there were persons with a disability in their hotel. What a scandal in a so-called developed country. But believe me, the thing is that in many countries that I have visited, people with a disability are not allowed to go out of the houses of the families because the families feel ashamed. Fight against that. Fight against it and tell your people around you that they should accept this very important message. Include your persons with a disability into your neighborhood and your society. Very, very important. Then in this moment you already have changed the world in a small step. Yeah, because you say, I want your child to go out of the house. Be bold, and I will go with you for the first, second, and third time, that nobody attacks you or look bad or talk bad about you. This is a very important thing, and that is the reason why we always say 10% of the participants should be involved. Maybe that they have a disability or work for persons with a disability. So this is very, very important. Ben, please be so kind. I spoke about conflict resolution, and so that is also something about speaking about peace building. And when we talk about peace building, how can you use sport as the first step of conflict resolution and trying to build peace between different countries or people? This picture was also made in Korea, and the girl with the microphone is from North Korea. North Korea is one of the most isolated countries in the world. I've been there, and I was so much shocked that I said, oops, this cannot be your world that I know. When we passed the border from China to North Korea, they played the national anthem and told something very great about their country. Unfortunately, I couldn't understand, but I heard in the voice what she wanted to tell me, that everything down was wonderful. Yeah, please.
There was one year situation that in North Korea, their television show country that their national team won the soccer championship, and all people in their country believed in that.
It was a controversy, and everybody, because they're so isolated, that they don't really hear any kind of issue.
Now this is very, very sad thing. More than 20 million living in this country. I've been there personally. I was invited, and I felt so sorry for all of them, because you never know what will happen. They now have nuclear weapons, obviously. I don't think that they have these weapons under control, but nobody knows about. But Seoul, the capital of South Korea, is I think 50 kilometers or 80 kilometers far away from the border of North Korea. But what I want to tell you is, even in such a bad situation, that they are so absolutely isolated, we can bring people together. We have, on this picture, there are two. This one is also from North Korea, and the girl with the microphone. And the young boy here, he was one of the best in this group, with all his ideas and behavior. He was a really good role model, but not under our, how can I say, biased opinion or stereotyped opinion about North Korea. They were really good, doing a good job there. And this is what we have to try again and again, and never forget, bringing people together in communication, in dialogue. And this is so easy in sport, so absolutely easy. If you have any place in the world Like I had just asked you if you want to run with me. Running is the easiest way because we even don't need a goal or a ball. We need just ourselves and go out running. And of course, it is good if you have shoes. But even if you don't have shoes, you could run and have fun. But if you have the wish to do something together, it's very important to talk and to have dialogue, and therefore you need language. We have in many countries the problem of different languages. Of course, if you want to communicate, you must speak the language. Of course, in football, for example, or with running, we could meet each other tomorrow and even not communicate, but we will communicate by running, by smiling, by touching in an appropriate way. This is also important. When we met each other this morning, may I? I said, oh, fine to see you and to learn about you. And you touched me as well. And that is kind of communication in an appropriate way. But this is very interesting. I'm an old man, so I understand that sometimes I jump from one point to another. There was a research in the US some years ago. They made a research watching on waiters who communicate with their clients in restaurants. And then they want to know who is the best waiter with with the best tips. And then they found out what was important. Yeah, they must be quick, they must be very friendly. And finally, they found out if somebody of the waiters touches the guest or the client in an appropriate and nice way, they got the most money. I couldn't believe it, but then I followed the research and read part of the report, and I said, yeah, this is communication. Yeah, if you be if in a nice way, or can I help you, or something like that, or if somebody jumps up and want to go stand up and you help, for example, somebody, it's nice, and then there is a reaction. Why do I tell you this? It's very important to use the power of sport, being together, for communication. Why? If you communicate, you get in dialogue. And if you are in dialogue, you will respect each other. Very important point in my life, sport combined with respect. I think we are all from different countries. That means we are all from different culture. In the US, for example, nobody would question about girls that are playing beach volleyball nearly naked. Nobody would say, okay, why should they not play volleyball naked? But I have to tell you, this is, for me, not acceptable. Why? Because there are many cultures in the world that these things different. It's not the way that if you go to a Muslim country or to other countries, that they think it's good that their daughters play beach volleyball nearly naked. And why do they play really naked? Not because it's very nice, it's very beautiful. And the TV ratings are much higher when they play with these bikinis. Yeah, this is the truth. And the people who are responsible for that, they tell you about it. Yes, because think the man, the beach volleyballer, they have trousers unto the knees. So what is necessary to do it in this very small, I don't know what is the name for it, or it is correct to do it in appropriate clothing. So you have to respect another's way of living, and sometimes this is not fair. I had the situation in a Muslim country that they said we want to wear our hijab, want to have clothes or cover our hair, And FIFA, some years ago, said, no, then you're not allowed to play football. How stupid is this? How can you, a Muslim girl, forbid to play football because they are wearing a hat scarf? It is stupid. I asked him, why did you forbid this? Yeah, it's too dangerous. They could injure themselves. I think, hi? What did you say? How many players last weekend were injured by heart attacks in the man fight? How many girls were injured last week all over the world because somebody put the hijab? Now, of course, there was not one case that they can show me and say, listen, this girl here in Kuwait or Qatar or in the Emirates was injured. So that was something very bad. You want to say something to it?
Yes,
please.
Because you just touched on a sensitive and like something really dear to me about the topic of wearing hijab, and you know, because I work with this global acting aid group that were really pushing for FIBA to allow girls to wear hijab to play. It's so unfortunate that they do not allow, it is not allowed for you to wear the hijab to play, and we have to like push so hard to it's just a headscarf, like it doesn't hurt anybody. It is about the game, not about what I wear. And it also, on the flip side, for me personally, when I played at Georgetown, why do I have to sign a paper in order for me to wear a headscarf? Like, it should just be automatic. Like, this is my fate. I should just come up to the game every day dressed up the way I want, feel comfortable playing. It doesn't stop my shot. It doesn't stop me playing defense. But I have to go through all this paperwork just to wear a headscarf, not even in a hijab.
Yeah.
See, that's
so
crazy.
It's wonderful that you just agreed to what I've said, and that means we should fight again. Yeah. And please be so kind. Now we know each other. Write maybe a declaration or something like that with all the participants that they ask FIBA to change their rules. If you send it to me, I will send it to the president, who is on the same way IOC member, Patrick Baumann from Switzerland, a very good friend of mine, and I twice told him, listen, I want you to change this. Unfortunately, until now he didn't find the power or don't think it's important enough, but I'm quite sure that he himself would change it. But there are some people around him, and this is very, very sad, that don't respect your religion, because this is the only background behind it, because there is no restriction about a player who goes on the pitch making this. This is a very clear symbol of your faith, and I respect this symbol of faith. But how can I make a difference between a hijab and a sign like this? And please, when I told you to change the word, I've seen both of you. If you see something like this, be involved. Don't think, okay, they do it like. If you think it is wrong, try to change it. And when they say no, next week, try again and continue this. As long as they say, come on, let them do whatever they want. We don't want to have this year by year. And FIBA, the Organization of Basketball International, they had this on their table already, and yeah. I'm absolutely sure one day they will give up, because then it's done.
I mean, they gave like I think a year or 2 year time frame to test run how it is. So we're still under the time frame. Like, do we really need a time frame? Like, we try to stigmatize Saudi Arabia.
But let's do it. You are responsible for this declaration. You will organize a wonderful declaration of this youth leadership program group. Send it to Ben. Ben will deliver to me. I will deliver this to FIBA and annoy them. Okay? So, sorry, ladies first and then you. Yep.
My name is Nana. I'm from South Africa. I work with called Maritime. In terms of what Keith said, for me, I think it boils down to also, should we say, a gender issue? Because I could be mistaken. I know in India there is a sect where the men, they have the long hair, and it's almost like a turban, and I've seen it in hockey, mostly like in hockey and in cricket. So it's a situation whereby men in certain cultures are allowed to choose to wear a headscarf or whatever, but then in 2016 as women, why do we have to fight for it when for men it's acceptable? So I mean, I do agree with Kike and pushing it forward because men are allowed to wear a headscarf. There is a certain cultural religion. It is in India. Neha can correct me. I don't know where she is. I can't see her.
Yeah, you are absolutely right.
This is a very, very good idea. And in this discussion with the hijab and FIFA, I didn't took it. But please be so kind and put this very important argument into your declaration. Thank you for that, please.
Yeah, just, I mean, agreeing with all this, but also that annoyance, as you're saying, and perseverance and persistence works. So the Afghanistan national women's football team, their kit supplier is the brand Homo. And so the most recent kit that came out, there's a lot of news about it because the women's kit includes the hijab. So it is like built into the kit so that women who choose to wear the hijab are allowed to play and can play with the national team kit, don't have to adjust it for themselves or go into special care to like make it so it works for them. But the kit itself includes that and includes whatever coverage they might want to play with, whatever they need and they want. And so persistence works, and if you find the right people to help you out, it can pay off and things can happen. And so just by that, I don't know if it's the first team in the world, but I think it might be the first national women's kit to include that. So after enough pushing, enough annoyance, change can happen. So that's evidence that pushing hard for something can pay off.
Perfect. Wonderful that we have such a concrete result from this discussion. We started this when I talk about dialogue, respect, also respect the culture, the background, because we are not all McDonald's eaters, but we are completely different around the world. And I think we should save our customs and the culture and not say, no, we have to do everything from Iceland to Puerto Rico, everything on the same line. No, it hasn't to be that. So that is, for me, very important to use sport as a tool for dialogue, respect, and one day friendship. Yeah? Dialogue, respect, friendship. Okay, Ben, be so kind. So, social inclusion sport offers powerful ways to promote tolerance and understanding, inclusion of persons with disability and gender equality. This is exactly what we already have heard, so we can change to the next. Sport can be an educational platform to address topics such as value of life, self-confidence, tolerance, and to promote health. This is something that I want to just to explain a little bit. Because when we have sport in Africa, I very often see that NGOs who offer sport programs combine it with educational lessons. So they say, come together, we have maybe 1 hour basketball or volleyball or football, and afterwards we have 20 minutes or 30 minutes discussion about important things, the way that you are thinking what you can do in the future. It's combined with that, I'm quite sure, to use the chance. They love sport, and then you can teach them here or there different things that they don't have learned in the school. So that is a very good chance to use the sport as a real tool. Ben? The video, yeah, this is something what our office in Geneva had organized, and I love this small video, 3.5 minutes.
Around the world, countless youth dedicate their efforts to address important issues through sport, a universal language that everyone can understand. They work passionately to develop their communities and become trusted and respected role models. most of them only have limited access to education and training opportunities and carry out their initiatives with very little resources.
I know many projects around the world where young people with no income, and sometimes when they get up they don't know what they will eat when they come back home at night. And they work for the children, for the youth, in sports, many times in football, but as well in other sports. And I want to, together with my office and different partners all around the world, to foster this kind of wonderful role models.
To help these young people become the leaders of tomorrow, the UNOSDP created the Youth Leadership Program, a forum where young people can learn and exchange the best practices in the field of sport for development so that they may progress professionally. The first Youth Leadership Camp took place in Doha in January 2012. Since then, each edition of the program has gathered around 30 young people for 2 weeks of training. More than half of them are women, with the level of female participation growing with each new camp. By July of 2015, we have run 17 camps in 8 different countries around the world with over 500 alumni. Through practical and theoretical sessions, play-based activities, and group discussions, young leaders learn to use sport to address the most pressing social issues and advance inclusion, gender equality, healthy lifestyles, and peace.
I've learned how to use the different sports, especially if you don't have the equipment and the resources, how to be creative and how to come up with new ideas, to reach out to these children and how to teach them the different life skills and how to use them as part of sports and in life.
I believe knowledge is power. And once I give the persons, the youth in my community, that knowledge, they will become powerful and they will use it to the best of their ability, the best they can be, and become great in sports and other avenues.
I want to be that agent of change in my country to help people do what they want to do, which is change and have a better country and community.
We are proud of this powerful initiative and thank our partners for assigning facilitators, developing education sessions, and providing operational help.
Youth leadership camps hold a prominent place in the legacy left by our city and by the multi-sports event it has hosted.
We see this as a perfect opportunity to enable young people to develop their leadership skills through peer sport and make a contribution to their communities and the global society.
We will continue inspiring more youth around the world to join their efforts in building a better future through sport within the framework of the post-2015 development agenda.
Take this as the second last and then the last. A good video, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, and now the second last is not this, yeah. The header is take action here, and I just found thank you.
Soccer coach. Once you win a national championship, everybody wants to come play for you. Really not true.
Ben, what have you done?
Ben
confuses us totally. No, von Confucius, philosopher from Asia, who lived 551 before Christ. He was born, and he said, "It's better to light one small candle." Ben, wake up! Then to curse the darkness. And this is, I think, a very, very positive end of this small lecture or speech, because I really think you got it this morning. with all these different examples that we have given to you. And when I said Francis, who is really the responsible people here in the big US, because if she wouldn't have done it, you wouldn't be here, I wouldn't be here. So everybody should learn from Francis to be motivated to change the world day by day in a little step. And that is the meaning of to light one small candle. Yeah, this is the thing that you have to learn after this week, and go then back home and try to implement things. If you need our help, get in contact with Ben. What is not possible, if you say, yeah, okay, we need $10,000 please send it to this or that account. This, unfortunately, is not possible. But how can you get and bring us in contact with Better Place, for example, this crowdfunding? There we can help you. We can help you with recommendation letters. That is very, very important for your work. And of course, it's very important also that you get, if you do it successfully, here, that you get a certificate from the United Nations that you have been here. And that will foster you, will empower you. And that will make sure, for me personally, that one day we will meet each other somewhere. When I come to your country next 7 months, I definitely will invite you for dinner. This is wherever I go around the world. I let you know that I'm in your capital, trying to visit your project, if there is a project. If not, I will invite you for dinner and just learn from you what has been with you the last months or weeks. So I will quit my job and at the UN at the end of the year, because I will retire. But I never forget all of you. You will be in my iPhone, and you can call me. I will immediately see your face, and I know then where we have met each other. And so it is wonderful, or it is still wonderful to be here, because what does it mean? I extend my stay here for one day. Because Ben said you are such a wonderful group here, and it's impossible that I have to leave on Monday. So he said you have to leave on Tuesday, and so we have time enough. I will be at the beach tomorrow with you. And so thank you so much. And of course, I don't know what is the plan, to have a break or question and answer. Okay. So is there a chance for answers and questions?
Not just yet. We're just going to go straight to Andrew, and then after that we can do it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay, good morning, everybody. You look great in your GAI t-shirts. Really proud of you. Okay, I thought yesterday was awesome. I hope you guys did too. Learned a lot, and the wheelchair basketball was really exciting, and filming the Steph Curry challenge for malaria prevention was going to be a really great opportunity for us to share what we're doing and to give Steph Curry some global support. But what Mr. Lemke said, and I'm so glad that he's with us this year, about how you take what you learn here and really put it into action. Because Andrew Hellman, who's been with you this year, was with us last year and really took what we are teaching to heart. And I wanted him to come and share how he put everything he learned in the classroom here into action, and give you a little idea about what you can do just as one person, or with your school or your team or your contacts and networks across the country, to really make a difference. So without stealing any of his thunder, because I want Andrew to sort of share the experience and the journey that started here for him last year, and where it's taken him and the change that he's making in the world. So Andrew, be the change.
Before I start, I want to thank Mr. Lemke for traveling all the way here and spending time with us. We sincerely appreciate it. Here's a video to start off.
Sport has the power to change the world. It has the power to inspire. It has the power to unite people in a way that little else does. It speaks to youth in a language they understand. Sport can create hope where once there was only despair.
Today, I want to share my life journey with all of you. I hope the lessons I've learned throughout my short life may inspire and motivate all of us to leave this conference with a sense of empowerment, empathy, and eagerness. We can, no, we are changing the world we live in. I am a lucky man. I grew up in a great home with great family, great friends, and great neighbors. Like an adolescent, I was worried about myself and myself only. I was not aware of the surrounding. I was not capable of thinking of how my actions could help others. As I grew up, I went to high school. I was blessed with the gift of being a talented athlete. I excelled at a number of sports while working hard in school. At one point, I committed myself to track and track only, running hurdles. That was my life: school, track, and the dream of winning a state championship in the hurdles. A dream I was going to make true no matter what hurdle stood in my way. I became obsessed with my dream. If you would have seen me as a freshman, you'd have never imagined my dream to be a possibility. I went from a tall, scrawny, and uncoordinated kid who could barely make it over the hurdles to a state champion and one of the best hurdlers in the country, headed to the University of Notre Dame on a scholarship. But this didn't happen overnight. It happened over the course of 4 painstakingly difficult years. There were times of tears and times of doubt. But deep down, I knew I would never give up on my dream because it was a part of who I was. I worked hard every day and sacrificed anything for my dream. As I mentioned earlier, I was granted the opportunity to attend the University of Notre Dame. A big part of this was due to my athletic abilities, but still, it would not have happened without my commitment to receiving good grades. I was on an all-time high, feeling untouchable. I was a state champion, attending one of the best universities, and even the ladies were starting to notice me. Well, life really couldn't get any better. But things took a swing for the worst. Shortly into my first year of university, something happened. I became injured and needed surgery. I was not able to compete for my school until the following year. This didn't stop me. I said, I'll be all right. I've been through this before. It's nothing different. Over the next year, I worked relentlessly until I could get back on the track to practice. Unfortunately, I didn't stay healthy for too long. I became injured again and again and again and again. This began to take a toll on me, not only physically, but mentally. I started to realize that track may not be a part of my life anymore, until one day, that became the reality. I was no longer physically able to compete at a high level. This was, and still is, scary, because without track, I did not know who I was. For most of my life, all I knew was sport and school. I had nothing else. I was an athlete. That is how I viewed myself. When track was taken away, I just became Andrew. Not Andrew the hurdler or Andrew the athlete, just Andrew. I felt hopeless. I felt like a failure. I felt empty because I couldn't reach my full potential, even though all of this was out of my hands. I kept asking myself, who am I? What do I offer this world now? How am I unique? All of which I didn't have answers for. I knew I was going to have to change something, or else I would stay in a very bad place. I began telling myself, this is the hand you have been dealt. You can either complain about it or use it to your advantage and put yourself in the best position possible. That's exactly what I did. I needed to start taking risks in order to find a new passion and purpose in life. The only way this was going to happen was through becoming comfortable with being uncomfortable. I was going to use my injury as a positive, a chance for a fresh start. A new Andrew. I had a new outlook. I had a lot more free time and realized the possibilities for the next chapter in my life were endless. With this new mindset, I started exploring until I came across an incredible opportunity to attend the United Nations Youth Leadership Camp put on by Global Action Initiatives at IMG Academy, representing the NCAA. Even though I was extremely shy and uncomfortable, I knew I had to put myself out there, or else nothing was going to change. I was scared of moving out of my comfort zone, but I said, why not? That why not was the best why not of my life, because little did I know what the future had in store for me. When I arrived at the camp, I tried to keep an open mind and be as outgoing as possible. It was difficult due to how reserved I am, but I kept forcing myself to make many improvements. Volunteer here, ask a question there, talk to this person there, and so on. Before I knew it, I had developed many deep relationships with individuals throughout the world, like Trinidad and Tobago, Brazil, Nepal, India. These are friendships that will last a lifetime. But there's one person in particular I want to highlight. His name is McLean. He is from Ghana, and he changed the way I live my life forever. McLean was one of my roommates during the 2 weeks. It wasn't until the second half of the camp that I truly got to know him. One night, I went to his room so we could watch the NCAA track and field championship. We sat there for hours talking about track and how we were both involved. The only difference, I participated on my legs, he participated in a wheelchair. Eventually, this led to McLean sharing his life story. I will briefly share it, as this is a moment I will never forget. Before I start, I want you all to close your eyes. Think back to when you were a child, around 9 or 10 years old. Now imagine yourself being paralyzed from the waist down. You are alone, on the street, without your family, an outsider. You have no food, you have no shelter. You are so young, so inexperienced, so scared. What would you do? Would you give up or keep moving forward? You may open your eyes. McLean was born in Dudua, Ghana, a poverty-stricken community in West Africa. At 9 years of age, McLean suffered from polio and became paralyzed from the waist down. Soon after becoming paralyzed, his family disowned him, and he was ostracized by his community. He was considered an outcast, a nobody with nowhere to go. For survival, McLean was forced to crawl on his hands and knees, dragging his body with a gun strapped to his back through the rocky and hilly terrain of Ghana. He hunted rabbits and other rodents, selling them in the market to make a living. For 9 years, he was on his own, sleeping in abandoned buildings and makeshift shelters. While others may have given up hope, McLean refused to feel sorry for himself. McLean said, "This is the situation I find myself in. All I can do is take it day by day and keep fighting, knowing that God is on my side." God, hearing McLean's prayers, sent him an angel. In 2010, he met Raphael, a man who was also physically challenged. Raphael would forever change the direction of McLean's life when he introduced him to wheelchair sports. This new opportunity paralleled his life struggle. To be successful at wheelchair racing, McLean would have to apply the principles he learned while trying to survive. He approached the sport with the same perspective and determination that kept him alive when his family and community shunned him. While McLean was talking, I was holding back tears. I simply couldn't imagine what he was telling me was true. I was sitting in front of a warrior, a man of indescribable spiritual, mental, and physical strength. Instantly, I knew I had to help him any way possible. How could I not? McLean continued on. He explained his aspirations of making the 2016 Paralympics in Rio, and just like me, he said he was going to accomplish this dream no matter what. At the time, McLean's racing wheelchair was old and heavy. It was not adequate. He needed a new, lightweight, professional chair. However, there was one problem. A new wheelchair cost money, $5,500 to be exact. I realized there was a way to help McLean, no matter how little it was. The next day, Pratik, another participant who knew McLean's story, and myself went to Francis with the idea of starting a GoFundMe page. We wanted to raise money for a new wheelchair and other expenses for training and travel. Francis loved the idea and even offered to donate $1,000 from Global Action Initiatives. I was so humbled by her generosity. We named the campaign Ability Within Disability because we realized firsthand that McLean wasn't disabled. He could do everything we could, but just in a different way. There was one day during the camp when we had facilitators to teach us about soccer. During the session, we were playing a game where you had 2 chances to score, once from far away, once from close in. McLean said he would play goalie and not to take it easy on him. He got out of his chair on his hands and knees and played goalie as we ripped shots at him. The only thing is, they weren't going in. McLean was stopping them one by one. It was in that moment I perceived disabilities in a new light. Last year, I asked myself, what can I do to make a change in my community? I had to take action. It would be a waste to acquire all this knowledge and inspiration and not use it. That's when I decided to pursue an idea that had been sitting in the back of my head for a while. The idea was to repurpose the issued apparel student athletes receive. Again, I talked to Frances about my idea, and again, she said go for it. So that's what I did. I went back to Notre Dame, talked to my friend and school administrators about the idea. The next thing I know, I'm presenting in front of student athletes from every Division I conference in the NCAA in only 18 days. My idea became a semi-national initiative. We named the organization One Shirt, One Body. One Shirt, One Body is a student athlete-led initiative and nonprofit that gives university-issued athletic shirts to low-income, high-risk youth within the community of the university. Our goal is to encourage the pursuit of higher education among youths while promoting athletes as a conduit to higher education through the academic, athletic, and life stories. One Shirt, One Body is not about helping someone make a living, it's about helping someone make a life. One shirt, one body at a time. One Shirt, One Body goes way beyond the donation of a shirt. Just as McLean made an impact on my life through his story, One Shirt, One Body uses the stories of student athletes to show the kids they are not alone, that someone who was once in their situation can be successful, to show the kids that there is hope and anything is possible as long as they work hard and take the right steps to reach the next goal of higher education. As student athletes, we have all had someone that believed in us. They cared for us and told us we can do whatever we set our mind to. They were selfless. It's my hope that student athletes can realize this and pay it forward for the next generation and change lives. Overall, we all have our own stories, no matter our background or where we come from. We have the power to inspire others and make a real difference. Last year I had an idea for a picture. This picture shows how we all come from different places, but can still come together as one and leave as one, going into the world working on our passions. Take action. Be a person that both identifies and creates opportunities and then reacts. Be a go-getter. Take initiative, and you will be surprised how far you can go. In my view, nothing I've done is that special or different. It's all a matter of identifying and seizing those opportunities when they present themselves. If you truly want something in life, then go for it. Don't let anything stop you. This is the true spirit of this camp. Francis, the staff, the facilitators, and all of you are what make our time here together so powerful. Use this inspiration and run with it. This camp not only teaches us tangible tools, but instills us with confidence and the ability to understand that we can be a force for change. Lastly, I want to end with a quote that I try to embody every day. We are what we repeatedly do. Therefore, excellence is not an act, but a habit. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew, for that. amazing presentation. I've also had like the honor to meet McLean and train with him at 2 camps. So he first came to Germany in 2014, and the guy is amazing. Just the biggest inspirational guy I've ever met. He, like Andrew said, when he went in goals for this game. Sorry. He went in goals for this game. When I first met McLean in Germany, he had never been in a swimming pool before. And one of the big things that we like to introduce to other camps is swimming. It's one of Mr. Lemke's great passions to introduce people from Africa and Asia who have not had the chance to learn swimming, is to give them the opportunity to learn swimming. And McLean had never been in a swimming pool, and he wants to go so much. But because he was top heavy, because his legs are like this thick, he just flops. So we had to find a way to keep his buoyancy as central as possible. So we just strapped a float to him, and he leaped into the pool, and he had no idea how to swim. We hadn't even given him any lessons. But he was just straight into the pool, and the float was keeping him up, and he was learning to swim, and he was just going at it. And just as Andrew said, like, he's just an inspiration. He never stops. Nothing is a challenge, and that is really this guy. Nothing is a challenge. An amazing guy. So I want to give you the opportunity to ask Mr. Lemke and Andrew questions about their 2 presentations. I think there's some few questions that I've seen having to hold them back. But please, if you have questions for Andrew or Mr. Lemke, please, we have some minutes for that. Yeah, Joy?
Mr. Lemke, what was your mission in North Korea?
Did you hear it, yeah?
Yeah, of course. The background here was to find if it's possible that even in a country like North Korea that is totally isolated, even by Russia, by China, they are just going their own narrow way. Is there a chance to communicate with people from North Korea and starting a dialogue between United Nations, South Korea as well, bringing them together? As you have learned, we were finally successful to bring 3 participants from North Korea to South Korea. That was a big sensation. So just to find out, is it possible to bring people together from this different political point of view? And we also could support them in a sportive way. For example, they are under sanctions, and these sanctions mean, for example, that even in sports they were not allowed to get some sport equipment. And I learned from the president of the Hockey Federation, whom I know very good, that he has been also in North Korea some years ago, and he found that they have cut the shoes of the junior players, the ice hockey players. Because they grow, of course, and this was a junior team, and so they couldn't run with these shoes, but they are under sanctions, and so they couldn't use them, and so they cut them and did some tapes on these shoes. And for me as a sportsman, this is not okay, because political things are one thing, but if they are still members of the IOC and if they are still members of the Ice Hockey Federation, they must get the chance to train, and we cannot say no. They have to cut their shoes and to tape them as a result of the mismanagement of the government. So that was something that I want to try to bring them together, because as you learned before, for me, violence is never the end of a story, the result of a story. You must always try to solve problems in a peaceful way. We have so many different conflicts, as you know, day by day. Hundreds and thousands of people were killed because people are obviously not ready to solve the problems in a dialogue way, but killing each other. And this is not the way that I would like to solve the problem in Israel, Palestine, or in North Korea, South Korea. 20 millions of North Korean on the one side, and I think something like 60 million in South Korea. So that was the background of the mission, bringing people together. Wherever I can see that there is a fight or a problem, we should use the sport, bringing people together. Because in sports, in the sports area, it is not impossible bringing people from different background together, and we should use this day by day.
So those sanctions are trade sanctions as well. So North Korea cannot receive luxury goods, and sport equipment comes under luxury goods, sadly. Does anybody have any other questions? Yeah, Carson, I'll bring this to you.
Yeah, so for Andrew, you mentioned that one body, one shirt, one body was an idea just kind of in the back of your head that slowly you created, you know? So I guess, can you elaborate more on where the idea came from and how it first came into your head and your first ideas about it and where you wanted to take it?
Yeah, so my sophomore year of college, the spring semester, my roommate is on the football team, and he had a bunch of extra shoes that he didn't know what to do with. So I said, I'll take them home, give them to my brother and friends. They're the same size as you. I did that, and instantly they put the shoes on, they're smiling, they're running around in them, they wouldn't take them off, and like, Cole Luke wore these shoes, like, oh my gosh, like, that's incredible. So I'm sitting there thinking, wow, as student athletes, we get gear every year. There has to be something that we can do with it. We either throw it away, give it to family and friends, or just it's sitting in the back of our closet. So that's really kind of where it started. And initially, we wanted to kind of end clothing scarcity. And the first semester we did it, we brought the shirts to a homeless center. But I saw so much more of an opportunity with these shirts that it's not really about the shirt at all. The shirt represents our journey to reach that shirt at higher education, all the sacrifices and obstacles that we have to overcome, no matter where we come from. Everyone has their story. So that's kind of where we transitioned into using the shirt as a platform for student athletes to share their stories and inspire others. So.
So what was your biggest challenge with creating the One Shirt, One Body?
We really were fortunate, like, from the beginning, just because it was received so well. We had a lot of traction. Like, in 18 days, it was a semi-national initiative, and we hadn't really written anything on paper. It was just an idea in our heads. So I'd say the biggest challenge now has been figuring out how we can make it sustainable for years to come, and how student athletes want to get behind it and are passionate about it, because we can't put passion into the student athlete. They have to want to do it. And figuring out how that's going to happen, and then creating a curriculum that's going to make a real impact, and what are these student athletes presenting while they're in front of the kids at these middle schools.
I wanted to ask you because questions that in my school this year, like me and my friends, we created a sorority for women empowerment, because like in most of the schools, like sororities and fraternities, like, well, everyone what's the idea of sororities and fraternities, and like our ideas was that a lot of women in our schools, they can join, like they don't have like a support and stuff, so we created like kind of club, kind of sorority. And our like first idea is that for first year we made we become a partnership with organization Partnership in Development, and they work with organization all over the world. And for first year, I don't know why, but like we choose to sponsor one girl from Haiti. So each year, this is like second year already, and we make like organization competition, and per whole year we collect money. So in the year, all the money we sponsor this money to girls in Haiti, and we give them for their education. So, but like that's the thing that it's really hard to partnership with this organization. So we wanted to create our own to like sponsor this money, not like through some organization, but like just from our own. And like it is like kind of really challenging, because like we don't know like whom to ask help. That's why like I'm wondering like who were like these people who were helping you to create organization.
So my university is very well connected. Just the administrators and everyone know people, and they know people, so that's been a huge help, just my university and getting us into different places to talk about it. But what I would say that helps, at least with me, is sitting down and writing out what needs to be done and how does it need to be done, what type of people do we need that to be done with, and then you can reach out to others to see if they know someone that fits the description, look online, and then literally just ask. So I'm in the Mendoza College of Business, and Tom Mendoza, he donated $35 million or more to build the building. And he's part of this big company, and I literally DM'd him on Twitter and said, hey, I'd love to talk to you. He responded to me. We had a phone conversation. He introduced me to Chief Technology Officer of the Bank of America, and then Will introduced me to other individuals when I have things done. So I literally just asked. I just tried, you know. There's no harm in doing that. And then, like Carson was saying, persistence. Keep asking, and Ingrid, you know, just keep reaching out to them, and sooner or later they're going to have to respond. I mean, what, Shawshank Redemption, if you've seen that when you write the letters for the books, I mean, that's an example.
Thank you. I have a question for Mr. Lemke, but before I'd just like to commend Andrew for the work you've done. It's really inspiring, and I feel like we could use more people like you, especially to better the communities that certain of us are from. And very good initiative, and I applaud you for that. My question for Mr. Lemke is, when Kike was talking about the scarf issue, and you advised her to do the declaration, I want to ask, how powerful is the declaration, and can it really change the issue? The reason why I'm asking this is because I'm from Seychelles, and football is a sport that is more popular among boys rather than girls, and I'm part of the Seychelles Women and Sport Association, and as much as we are trying to push for the local football federation to develop football for girls, they're just not listening and not paying attention. And we know that FIFA gives funding for developing girls football, but it's like we're stuck in a corner. We can't really do much. So I'd like you to what would you recommend we can do with regards to the situation?
Yeah, first of all, two things. Girls football and about this basketball. This was a basketball question that we discussed, and where I just suggested to organize a declaration. Why a declaration, that not just a letter from one person? Because if you have one person that communicates with the FIBA, it is okay, but nobody will ever read it. They get it in the postal office, they will have okay, then give it to this or this, and then you will never get an answer. If this is coming from a group like yours, with the stamp of the UNOSDP on it, it's different. And then if I would get it, I will also say, listen, I've already talked twice about this protest and the situation. Please give me a written answer that I can give this back to all of you via your way. So this is something that you have also to think about, not just if you write it or you write it, but get together and then use another door. This door would be the UN door. And then that will annoy FIBA for sure. And there are obviously some strong barriers. I don't know where they are. Maybe in the NBA, I have no clue. Sometimes there are political reasons behind. Nobody knows. For me also, I have no clue. But I think the Secretary General of FIBA, this is Patrick Baumann that I've told. He told me, listen, Willy, this is not a problem. Of course they can play, but leave me alone. This bothers me anyway. He didn't say so, to be very correct, because as I told you, he's a close friend of mine. But I have the feeling that he himself would solve the problem. So you must again and again work on this. Secondly, I know exactly that you are right. There are, I think, some $100,000 of US per year for the national football federations to support girls and women's football all over the world. So this is for sure. And if they don't do it, they will not get the money. Sometimes maybe that they cheat, I have no clue. But you have to check it and to really to force them. And where do you come from? Which country? Seychelles. Okay, a very small one, and I think if I'm right, it's something like 200,000 or 300,000 US that they would get if they support female football. Maybe in smaller countries they give less money. I'm not sure, but you can find it out. I have a very good contact to FIFA, also a youth leadership program friend. She's called Hani from Palestine, from Bethlehem. She was the organizer of the first national female football team in Palestine. So she's a really, in a way, a hero, because to fight for gender equality in Palestine, that is not easy. But she succeeded, and now we supported her very much. And now she's working for FIFA. And Ben definitely would love to bring you the contact details, or definitely we will also have the chance, and then I can give you her contact details, and you can say, hello, honey, I'm your new colleague from the Seychelles. And then you say, listen, I need the answers. Answer question 1, 2, 3. Best regards from Willy. And she will definitely answer this. She's a wonderful, wonderful young lady. And she can help you, and she definitely can tell you how much your country gets per year to support. And then you can bring it back to your country and say, listen, I know exactly how much money you got. What have you done with this money? And one day you will sit on the board of your federation.